Hey, what's going on? It's Doug here, and this is, what do we call this? The Doug Show Live? I'm not sure. We're going to talk about keyword research, affiliate marketing, and niche sites in general. I'll tell some stories, and I will also answer your questions. Please let me know if you can hear me. I think you can. Usually, usually it works, but not always. And typically, here recently, I've had pretty good luck. I haven't had any catastrophic mistakes in the last few, I want to say weeks, but maybe even months. I'm not sure. Thanks, folks, for hopping on. I see our normal, usual suspects are here. We have Daniel, we have Emmanuel. Which Manuel are you? I haven't seen you in a bit, or it's a common name. We have Oliver as well. What's going on, Oliver? Thanks for popping in, and Gaz. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the thumbs up myself. And I encourage you to do the same, whether you're watching live or if you're watching the replay later. It's great if you hit the thumbs up. It tells YouTube that you like the video and it feeds my ego. The other thing you could do, especially if you are watching later, is leave a comment. That helps. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, that helps also. If you have questions, please ask. I don't have a specific topic area to cover today, but happy to go into whatever. I'm going to give a quick shout out to a couple sponsors. One, Ezoic. I'll put on the Ezoic hat that they sent me one time. It's pretty comfy. Looks good. Sharp. It fits my head pretty well. I have adult onset low set ears, so it's they're not quite where they're supposed to be, or is it high set? I'm not sure. Anyway, hats are tough on me sometimes, but these are great. These Ezoic hats. And you should check them out. They have a product called Leap that'll help your website load faster. And they're actually rolling out some cool stuff. There's the Niche IQ or Niche IQ, if you pronounce it correctly. And it's it's like a little SEO tool inside of Ezoic, and it actually analyzes what's on your site, and it does sort of a content gap analysis situation, and it sees what keywords you might be able to go after. So those tools like that, those are free inside Ezoic if you're a user. So I encourage you to check it out. And we also have Odys Global, which I'll do a little live situation with them coming up. There's a pretty cool gaming domain that I think should be amazing. So we'll take a quick look at that as well. And like I said, we'll answer some questions. We could talk about keyword research or links or other stuff with your sites in general. And we have Jeremy here as well. Awesome. And Misty Sunday. We have Sakab. What's up from Pakistan? Good to see you. Sonia. And we have Ricky as well. And Gaz asks about the Ezoic gig. Yeah, it was great. For people that don't know, Ezoic had like a small gathering, which was cool. So I actually got to meet a lot of people in person, people like Ron Stefanski, who I've known for many years, Alex Cooper, WP Eagle was there as well. Carl was there. A lot of other folks that I've interviewed on the channel. Amelia Gardner, Fix was there, and a handful of others. So yeah, I got to meet a ton of people in person. I'll probably remember like 5 other people as we're chatting here. But also, there were a ton of publishers that I got to meet also. So super fun and awesome. Yeah. J May says, are backlinks important? And they are important, but it doesn't have to be one of your primary activities. And I think the trend in the last few years, especially in the last few years, is to just publish content and let the links come naturally. And that is, really the most natural way to do it. And I'll share a couple things coming up with what I learned from some of the presentations over the weekend. And one of them, I was actually on a panel with a couple extremely smart SEOs who've worked at a corporate level, which I've never done. And I'm trying to think if I can remember her last name. Carolyn Shell, I think that was her last name, Shell. Carolyn mentioned, if you look at a backlink profile and you see it's just steadily going up, like a proper slope, then you know that they're purchasing links on a regular basis, because links wouldn't naturally come in just 100%, like 5 new links each month or something like that. It wouldn't be completely consistent where you have like an even slope line. So if you see that, then you know that they've been purchasing links. Backlinks are indeed important, but they don't have to be one of your primary activities. Sakab says, is the KGR method still works for Amazon affiliate blogging? Yes. Tell me any backlink methods. So you could do guest posting. You could do Haro, right? I think Haro is probably one of the better things you could spend time on, because you're getting links from, conceivably, those are going to be like news outlets or bigger websites in general, because they're asking for references. So Haro link building is probably one that you should aim towards. Sonia says, you're getting a lot of failed login attempts. WordFence notifies you multiple times a day. Is it common, or should you worry? It is common, and you should worry. I recommend that I don't know if WordFence does this, but basically you could change your login URL to something custom. So instead of this is a bad example, domain.com/wp-login.php, you could change it to domain.com/ a random set of characters, or a word and a number that only you'll know. So when someone's trying a brute force attack on your site, they won't even be able to find your login page, because they'll just go somewhere else because you've made it hard. So it's very common. You should worry. Just change the login URL. Ricky says, advice for someone entering a saturated your money or your life niche. Does saturated mean it won't work? No. So it just means there's more competition. And Ricky, if you're newer to the channel, maybe you haven't heard me mention this specifically, but basically, if you have a long enough timeline, then the competition doesn't matter as much. And if you're, part of the niche, if you're part of the community, it also doesn't matter as much. The fact is, new websites pop up all the time. New, fill in the blank, right? New TikTok, new Instagram, new YouTube, new podcast, new book writer, like authors, and new magazines, like new things pop up in industries that are completely saturated, but maybe they have a different take. Maybe it's a different audience. Maybe it's just really high quality. So saturated doesn't mean it won't work. Saturated just means it might take longer and you might have to work harder. Daniel says, I'm curious about your thoughts on Flickify and Humix. Are you going to make videos for your posts? So for the people that don't know, these are a couple products from Ezoic. Flickify essentially helps you create a video from a blog post. So I'm probably going to mess up a couple of the components here, but generally it takes a blog post, it reads the content, and then it puts B-roll behind it, and then there's some text on there too. It's editable, and essentially it creates a video from your blog post without much work. You don't have to be on camera, and it has someone read it, right? So it's an AI reading the blog post or good chunks of it, right? Again, you can edit it. You don't have to read it verbatim. So that is a great tool if you don't want to do video yourself, if you don't want to be on camera, and there's, stock video, stock images that are used. So it lowers the cost to virtually nothing except your time, right? But it makes that much faster because it puts together a video for you. And as far as Humix, that is like a video sort of network. So the details on that I'm a little more fuzzy on, but essentially instead of like publishing videos on YouTube, for example, or on Vimeo, you could publish on Humix, and then you're able to essentially earn money from it, right? So those videos can play on other people's websites, and that seems awesome. Now, am I going to make videos for my post? I will probably play around with each of those, and I'm trying to figure out, where I want to spend my time. The primary amount of my time is not spent on like, writing, creating videos for my content sites. I'm typically outsourcing a huge portion of it. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do, but I'll probably play around with each of those. So am I going to make videos for the post? Probably some of them, and you will probably see it more on the site, my public site, which is Niche Site Project. And that is one where like I am the person that should be creating the content. I'm the person that knows more, and part of it is like my story in there. So that is the place where it makes sense. And I will be creating videos for some of those posts, but it's similar to what you know over on the YouTube side already. And Daniel, I did learn new stuff at the Ezoic event. Off the top of my head, I can't rattle anything off specifically, but there was a big emphasis on video. And because you're watching this on YouTube, and I have a lot of YouTube videos, and I'm doing live streams and publishing video versions of my podcast, you probably already gather that I put a great emphasis on video. I like video, and it's pretty fun. So I will be, doing more of that. But, a lot of the information was around video. There was a great presentation by the Chrome Unboxed folks. So this is a channel that I knew about. I bought a Chromebook, I guess 3 years ago, and did some research, watched a couple of the videos, happened to sit next to Robbie on the bus. So I got to chat with him for a while and met the other two partners as well. So just hearing like how they're approaching it, and they started as a YouTube channel first. And like many YouTubers, they started in 2013, but like many YouTubers, they just were kind of doing it for fun on a topic that they were very into. And, fast forward a few years, they've grown. I think Robbie said they have something like 250,000 subscribers. And turns out their blog is, per my understanding, the blog is more profitable than the YouTube channel. So they're using Ezoic, right? So like really apparent. And in Ezoic, per my understanding, was like the lion's share of the earnings. And you would think, I would have thought, someone that came from the affiliate marketing world, that the affiliate marketing, especially for like a product focused niche, like that would be the most profitable thing. But yeah, they have a huge channel. It's awesome. And their blog does better. So, people are like, is blogging dead? Or, should I spend time on YouTube? And, YouTube is, where they started and where they got their footing and traction and all that. And you can certainly externally see, 250,000 subscribers. You can see how many views they get, but they're making more money on their blog. Okay. So good question, Daniel. I'll probably think of other stuff in the future. Marcus, what's going on? Good to see you. Ricky says, is there a backlink agency I recommend? Yeah, so there's a couple. I don't have an affiliate link here, but I'm an affiliate for Niche Website Builders. And I mentioned, guest posting and Haro. They have services in both of those areas. So those are great. I haven't done a video recently, but you could go back in my podcast archive and probably hear some information about the Shotgun Skyscraper campaign that they ran for me. So they did a great job. I think I ended up getting somewhere around 100 links, and they took my site to, basically from zero, right? A 0 DR to something like 50, low 50s. I think maybe it's dropped to like a 50, but at one point I think it was maybe like 54, something like that. So they do a great job with a Shotgun Skyscraper campaign. And Marcus says create quality content that search for a lot, and then you will get backlinks naturally. And yeah, I mean, you can get backlinks naturally. And I mean, I think if you put more time into, the content, it can work out fine. And I'm definitely, proponent of link building and networking and all that stuff, but I definitely don't like, spamming the whole internet trying to get a handful of backlinks that may or may not be good at all. So great questions coming here. Thanks everyone. And if you do have the ability to hit the thumbs up, I appreciate it a ton. And quick other plug for these live streams. I typically send out an email about an hour ahead of time. You could sign up for that notification. There's a link in the description here, so you could just sign up. And basically, YouTube is not super reliable on notifying you when I'm going live. So I do send out those emails. All right. Shahid, what's up? I am doing pretty well. Misty Sunday says, how can I be good at content writing? So it's a good question. I would probably watch some videos. I'll give you a few options. So I'd probably watch some videos on writing good content and writing in general. You can watch, I'm telling you about videos because you're watching this on YouTube now, so I expect you're a YouTube viewer. There's a great book if you want to read about it. There's a great book by Stephen King called On Writing. He's a fiction writer, of course, but there's some really good tips in there, and he tells a story in there too. Obviously, he's a great writer, so he tells a story, and you kind of get a sense of his background a little bit. And one of the big things is writing and reading a lot, and then editing. Most of this is editing. If you want to be a good writer, edit a lot. So get the draft out of your brain, do your research, do what you have to do, edit a lot, edit more than you think. And when, I'm doing these interviews and there's a couple people using some AI writers, and then they're like, well, I use the AI writer, but then I edit it pretty hard and make sure that it's, kind of just a tool, right? The AI writer is a tool. So they edit it and then it's more or less in their voice. When I talk to other people who are writing it themselves, they have a rigorous editing protocol where they go through and they edit it 3 times and someone else edits it, and it really, becomes a better piece of work. The thing that's embedded with the editing process is like a feedback loop where you're writing and then you're checking it yourself and you're trying to make it better. This could be like making it more concise. Most likely you should be editing things out. So you're trying to get feedback either from yourself internally through editing. You can have someone else edit it as well, but generally it's the iterative process that makes it better. Misty Sunday says, also Google is again hitting traffic. Don't know how long this will keep happening. Unfortunately, it seems like forever and more frequently. This year has been up and down. We've seen a lot of this, especially through some of the case study updates that I've done with various people. Christy has largely stayed out of any of the algorithm issues. However, Ariel, she's been hit, a couple times. Once her site in July got hit by a ton, and then it recovered in September with virtually no work done to do anything. But as far as, traffic hits and stuff like that, seems like Google is rolling out more updates. I did talk to Carl, which Gaz mentions in the comment here, that Carl posted about the Ezoic meetup. And Carl, I need to check with him if I could tell the story. Like I didn't clear it with him ahead of time, but essentially it's third, fourth hand or so. But essentially the main takeaway that I had from this, off the record conversation was the updates may not be doing what Google is intending, and it could be more internal corporate politics versus like people really trying to do a good job on the search results. So a little unclear. The detail, there were a couple more details, but that is generally the idea. And I sat on the SEO panel. As I mentioned, Carolyn Shell was there, and a guy named Robert who works at Ezoic, head of SEO or something like that. And he mentioned that it was either Robert or Carolyn, that we were assuming that Google is making the updates and then the results are what they intend. And I think we can see from, a site dropping by 80% and then recovering a few months later shows us that maybe the results are not what they intend. Maybe we're seeing some wild swings that are not what anybody thinks is going to happen, including the people that are adjusting the algorithm. This is all hearsay. This is all speculation. We know nothing. And I was definitely talking to people that knew a lot more about broad scale SEO. Good questions though. And Shahid says, I hope you are having a good day. Yeah, it's a good day here. I slept really well the last couple nights after, some late nights at in Carlsbad. The funny thing, I was so excited to meet Alex and Ron that I stayed up too late. We stayed up too late on the very first night. So, we hung out, we did stuff. We were able to tour the Ezoic office, which was super cool. And then we did our thing. We had a couple drinks, and then we got back to the hotel and we just hung out in the lobby for another couple hours. So last couple nights, slept great. Slept great because we're catching up on sleep. I needed to do it. All right. So can I find an easy to rank micro niche? Yes, for sure. You can do that. It's a matter of going and searching on probably, I would recommend brainstorming in general. And I would recommend go look at a place like Amazon, go browse through departments and stuff like that. Get some ideas of like some micro kind of topic areas. You could also go sort of the other route, like a non-product related route if you want to. On a grander scale, I would recommend that you don't think I want to go for a micro niche, because that just paints you in a corner so that you can't grow. In the future, you may think, this is great. I want to expand out to different topic areas and product lines. And then you find yourself in a situation where you branded the site and the domain too narrow, and then you can't really go anywhere from there. So I recommend you don't think so small. You're capable of growing a huge site. You're capable of expanding in the future. Even if you don't know what you're doing now, you can be in a position in 6 months or 18 months where you think, I want to grow this site bigger. And then you're stuck because you branded it too small. So, browse around and look. And in that case, if you're looking for an easy to rank area, then, go for something that is either kind of brand new or for something that has very little competition. And if you look for something brand new, then there may be very little competition. I would suggest that that's probably difficult to do if you're just getting started. So if you're asking about an easy to rank niche, then I'm assuming that you're just getting started. So it could be a little hard to do. Sanzar, what's up? And Dan, what's happening? Quick plug here for my other podcast. It's called Mile High Fi. Where are we in focus here? It's very shiny. Mile High Fi. It's about personal finance and financial independence. So if you're interested in that stuff, which if people are interested in side hustles and earning money usually you're thinking, hey, I want to have like some freedom in the future to work on whatever I want to, or not work at all, or just go on vacation or spend time with your family, give to charity, so on and so forth. So check out this podcast, Mile High Five. There's a link in the description there. And yep, Dan, we got Dan there. And okay, Jamie says, I received my Gmail DMARC message about one website. What's the meaning of this? I'm not sure what that means. If anyone else knows, you can let us know in the chat. And Sanzar, awesome. Happy to confirm that KGR really worked. Yeah, good to get confirmation from the field, and appreciate you checking it out. Okay, Jack says, at one point would I put display ads on the site? Ezoic reached out to me, but at the time I didn't think I had enough content or traffic to be worth it. Well, if they reach out to you, then they probably think you have enough. I would say if you're getting at least, a couple dozen visitors a day, it's worth it to go ahead and integrate. One of the benefits, and I think, Amelia mentioned this to me, one of the benefits if you start with Ezoic early on, before you're getting a lot of traffic, you can see what pages, what types of topics bring in the highest earnings per 1,000 visitors, EPMV. So if you know what kind of content is the most profitable, you can start publishing more of that content. If you don't know, then it could lead to a situation where you're publishing, just whatever you think works. And then you may find out later that you leaned in a direction too hard. And I actually had this on a website of mine where I was ranking pretty well for a certain kind of content. So I went all in, started publishing more and more of it. And then later found out that it was earning like 1/3 as much as a different kind of content, which didn't rank as well, but you have to kind of make some assumptions, kind of plan what you're going to do. You could be flexible, but like I leaned too hard and I wasn't monetizing with Ezoic until after. And then I realized, looking at the EPMBs and the kind of content that was getting the most traffic, it just wasn't earning much. And the other traffic was. So I needed to, shift. Good questions today. Everyone's doing great. Really appreciate that. Ricky says, if you had the option of choosing 3 tools for keyword research or SEO, which would you choose? I would probably use KWFinder for keyword research, Ahrefs for, just general market research. That'll get you a lot. And then I haven't used SEMrush in a while, and I think SEMrush is very good. And I think you could probably get some value from that too. There's other tools out there. What do you guys think? What tools, if you chose 3 tools, what tools would they be? Let us know in the chat for sure. And then I would love to hear in the comments too. All right. Oh, Jonathan, what's up? Good to see you. And Joanne. Great. And Ricky says, do I hold live events? If so, come to Vegas. Ricky, I don't hold any live events, but I attend them occasionally. And I actually have a couple friends in Vegas. They were both at the event. So Ron Stefanski and then Shauna Newman's out of the Vegas area as well. So, if there was an event or if I'm passing through, that would be a great time to have a meetup. I think, obviously there's plenty of places to go and hang out there. All right. And Abdel Kabar, I think I got all the syllables. I know it's a bit strange, but I only want to achieve 30 views per month for one post by using very low volume keywords. Is it good, or should I use a different strategy? I I don't know. So it depends on how you're trying to earn money. This is it's a business question, right? So if you have, I'll give you two examples. So if you have like a high dollar service or product and you can close, of one visitor per day, which would be very high, you can convert one visitor per day, then that could be perfect, right? That could be a really profitable business. You make 30 sales per day. Let's say it's something that you earn $500 for each one, right? So that's $500 a day. So that could be really profitable and a no-brainer, right? You could also have 30 views per month for one post and have display ads on there. And it could be a topic area that no one is really advertising for. There's not much money in it. And earn virtually nothing. So that would be bad. So it depends on how you're monetizing, basically. Oh, Ariel's on. Good to see you. And Daniel says that he's adding schema to the site. Yeah, we did. There was a little talk about schema over the weekend as well. All right. Getting behind on the chat, but we'll catch up. Rides on the Wind. It's first time live. Awesome. Appreciate the support. Let us know if you have any questions. All right. Sonia says, I just posted an article 30 minutes back and I'm already getting 20 page views for it. I'm so paranoid thinking it's bots or some weird thing happening and not actual visitors. Was it like a low competition keyword that you would expect to get that much traffic? All right. And Daniel mentions for the SEO tools, Writers in SEO Diddy. I don't know how to say these. People are too clever. Word Hero, I can say that. Low Fruits, I've never used that, but people talk about it. And Fruit Bat Cat, Google search, that is one of the best. You could get a ton of data from that. What do I think about the Moz and Ahrefs difficulty? I think they're a reasonable approximation. And, I think it varies per niche. I don't find them to be super accurate, but if you sort of looked at the various tools and like understood how you are able to rank for keywords on your specific site, maybe you can draw some conclusion. But I've never done like a head-to-head comparison. Gaz says, any advice for someone who's hit about 55 articles and is struggling with new topics? Maybe a keyword service, maybe Carl's. Yeah, I would check out Carl's. I think, generally you can get a lot of ideas from your competitors. So, one of the dangers out there, one of the sucky things is you can go look at what your competitors are doing and then emulate that. And it sucks when it happens to you. And I've had, a lot of people email and mentioned someone's basically taking all their keywords. And this happened to me multiple times, unfortunately, especially after I started talking about KGR and it was sort of newer. Someone was literally like, I was getting referral traffic from their WordPress dashboard. So I knew exactly which site was copying me. And they were copying like everything. They were copying the format. The text was different, so it wasn't a copyright issue, but they were using the same type of images. They were using the same subheadings, like everything else. They were copying as much as they could without violating the copyright. So you can go take a look at the competitors and see what's out there. I would also go to places like Reddit and Facebook groups to see what questions people are asking and you can clearly see how much interaction that's getting. So if it's a popular topic or not. And through that, you may even be able to get ahead of, some of the keyword research tools. And that's the thing, like if it's sort of a newer thing, or maybe there's a new product, the keyword research tools are going to be behind. So if you want to get ahead, like you have to kind of be part of the community, or at least be where the community is, so that you can do that kind of deeper research. And some happy Diwalis out there. All right. Sonia says that it was a low competition keyword, but it's not even indexed yet. And Shahid says, maybe it's your own sessions, but no, it's real time and she's not on the page. You can also, Sonia, you could check like how long the traffic is on your page. I think you should be able to see that probably, but often bot traffic just hits the site and then it's gone. So if you can see that they're actually spending time on the page, that can be helpful. All right. So let's get some more questions in here. Before we get to that stuff, let me do a little live read for Odys, and I encourage you to check out Odys out over there. It's the source for premium age domains. And the big pro with an existing age domain like this is there's backlinks pointing to it already. So there were questions about backlinks, and the thing is, there's a lot of case studies out there where people use these age domains. They're able to publish content and rank much quicker because there's already authority established. So that's the main idea with these domains. Of course, you want to pick something that is in the niche. The featured domain for today is insanelygaming.com. It's 10 years old, 104 unique referring domains, and it's relatively, I would say, modestly priced. Some of these go up very high, and they give you an approximation of like how much it would cost to like recreate the 104 links out there, and then the 2 high authority links, which we'll take a quick look at in a second. And you end up with, a little monetization angle. So this is for hosting an authority gaming website covering all things about gaming equipment. I mean, gaming is right in there. So you could cover keyboards, gamepads, VR glasses, and other things that gamers use. I don't know. I'm not a gamer myself. You could also have, I think there's like playing guides and stuff like that. So you could have like informational content as well. You can see some of the old versions of it over here. And I'll see if I can zoom in just a little bit. Yep. So a little old school, looks kind of like, what was that site? I forget. It's like Tumblr, something like that. Some other versions of it over time. Looks like they moved over to WordPress here, so that looks a little more legit. And then those are from the Wayback Machine. So if we scroll down here, you can see there are some pretty amazing links. MTV.com, Gizmodo, YouTube, Cheeseburger.com, College Humor, The Old Reader, something I can't read there, Laughing Squid, Dorkly.com, Nintendo World Report, and so on. Like I said, it's 10 years old, which is kind of amazing. I was chatting with a lot of people that started their websites 15 years ago. Someone had like a 20-year-old site, and it's just amazing. But you can kind of shortcut a lot of that aging if you get an age domain like this. So I'm going to scroll down. So the DR is 23 currently, and let's double check here. What do we get? So the DR is actually listed over here on Ahrefs is 27, so a little higher, 142 referring domains. And let's see here. They were getting a little traffic all the way until the middle of 2018. Not too much, just a handful of visitors. And one thing we'll take a look at is the referring domains here. And then we can look at the do follow ones. Those are the ones that matter. And I don't know what that side is. Kotaku.com, Gizmodo.au. We got Laughing Squid, The Mary Sue, The Old Reader, and so on. So there's a lot more here, and you can see links from very high domain rated sites, which is pretty awesome. So you can also explore further in the Wayback Machine, although it looks like I'm having a little trouble with it right now. Nevertheless, you can check out this domain or many others on Odys. And if you join using my affiliate link, there's a link in the description. You can get $100 in your account, which I greatly appreciate. And I might get a little commission there. So if you use my link, it's pretty awesome. All right, cool. Jonathan says, great explanation from Ariel on how to use Reddit for keyword research. And that is in the latest interview with Doug. Jonathan, thanks for plugging my video, since I don't do a huge push for it or anything like that. But yeah, it was a pretty awesome interview. Ariel always brings it. So certainly check that out. I think that was a live stream not too long ago, right? If I remember right. And then RC says, what do I think about this keyword for new website, all marketing tools? I'm not sure I follow your question. What do I think about a keyword for new website, all marketing tools? Yeah, can you rephrase the question? I'm not sure I understand. Guys mentions that Carl does have a keyword service out there. All right. Jonathan asks if you can get affiliate commissions from the gaming industry. So you can. I'm not 100% sure exactly like which like platforms pay the best or anything like that, but I know many of them do have affiliate programs. And further, there's a huge product area that you can lean into where there's products I don't even know about that are used. But on an easy level, when I walk through like Best Buy, I see gaming keyboards and like fancier keyboards with like backlighting and stuff. They have headsets, microphones like this, since a lot of it is sort of team oriented. I don't know the right term, but basically there's a ton of products, many of which are kind of expensive. And a lot of people game, even though I don't. There were a handful of people that I chatted with over the weekend that were very much into gaming, and I just have no idea. I'm just old enough. And honestly, I was bad at games. So I have some friends that really got into gaming, but I suck at video games. So I kind of topped out at like Super Nintendo time frame, early 90s or so, mid 90s. And then I just wasn't good at them. So I didn't play them anymore. Just sucked at them. And I think it changed over time. Like maybe the games were not as, I don't want to say difficult, but the focus was a little bit different, but I sucked at them anyway. So yeah, not my thing. But there's a lot of products associated with it. All right. Any other questions out there? Any other questions? So I had a good call earlier. This is unrelated, but I do tell stories out there. How many people in the chat currently do listen to my other podcast, The Mile High Fi, or are interested or know about financial independence and the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early? So I have this other podcast, and my co-host, we started it, I guess, like a year and a half ago, something like that. And he's pretty busy. He's actually gotten super busy in the last month or two and hasn't really been able to record. Like we did several episodes at FinCon, but we largely were not able to record too much recently. So he has a lot of friends. He's been in the FIRE community for a while. And basically he has a friend who wanted to he was thinking about starting a podcast and maybe doing more YouTube. So he'll be recording with me, which is awesome. and he's been, he's written at least one book, and he has we have a somewhat of a similar background and take on certain things, or at least like common interests where maybe our takes are different, but we're thinking about that specific topic area. It might be like productivity related, it could be health related, fitness, lifestyle, working online, that sort of thing, or financial independence. And it's a guy named JD Roth. So he has this blog called Get Rich Slowly. And if you just like pop it up, like you'll see he's been featured all over, and he's been blogging for many years. He's a fantastic communicator, really good writer. So I'm excited to work with him here coming up. And I had a call with him earlier today just to sort of sync up. It'll be a few weeks before we get anything out, but I'm excited to chat with him. All right. And Jonathan mentions the biggest takeaways from the Ezoic meetup. So kind of went over this earlier, but just a recap for the people that didn't hear it. Video, video was a big theme. Someone asked about, I forget the name, Flickify and Humix. I think it's Flickify. Is that right? So basically there's, tools to produce video from a blog post and then publish videos outside of like YouTube and Vimeo and other platforms like that. So, video's big. As I mentioned, I do video. I've like been committing to video for the last 5-6 years or so. And, I have like sort of a renewed interest in it, and I'm going to be doing more of it. I'm going to be doing like more traditional YouTube videos. I'm not 100% sure of the time frame, but sort of more traditional YouTube videos as opposed to, these live streams or my 45 to 90 minute long interviews. Those don't play that well on YouTube. I love it that, you all are here and you like the live streams and the long form, and a lot of you do, but I've literally for about 2 years, I haven't published, what YouTube wants and what new audience members want. And I need to have somewhat of a balance. I was lazy for too long, and I see like my channel growth is slowing. And because I've taken such a break, I didn't get burned out. So I have been insanely consistent, and I publish often, but it's not typically it's not a type of video that will bring in a new audience member. So that is, eventually, like, I need to do that. Otherwise, this is not a self-sustaining activity. So video is huge, especially for growing. The other converse of that is I met a few people that, they have huge YouTube channels. They got started on YouTube, and they actually make more from their blogs with Ezoic than they do from YouTube, which is enlightening, right? So depends on the industry and how they monetize, but they're like, yeah, we love YouTube. We love video. We're still committed to video. Blog earns way more. All right. Sharif says, is the snippet ban real? I got hit by the spam update, but I can guarantee the content is original. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if the snippet ban is real. I've heard from a lot of people who no longer show up in the snippets, but I haven't, to my knowledge, I don't know how substantiated it is across the board or acknowledged from the industry, but I have heard from enough people where I think, yeah, the snippet ban is probably real. And as far as the spam update and guaranteeing the content is original, I don't know which update the spam update was, but I don't know that specific update is claiming that the content wasn't original. It may just say the content, wasn't good enough or something like that. But I don't know enough details based on your statements. I think like, if you got hit by the spam update and the content's original, it doesn't mean that it didn't work as intended. However, earlier, the thing that I said was we all like are making an assumption that Google updates are doing what the engineers are intending. And it may not be the case. In one example, Ariel's on here was a minute ago. One of her sites got hit, lost about 80% of the traffic in July. It returned at the end of September. And that would tell us, right, that some of the results from the July update were not what they intended to do because they swung back with Ariel virtually doing nothing. And Daniel says that you do listen to the Mile High Fi podcast a lot, and I appreciate it. You come away inspired and fantastic. Thanks for the support. So, Daniel, you'll hear JD joining me coming up soon, and I think we're going to explore, probably a lot of new topics, but there's going to be some where we will be able to go back and talk about something that Carl and I already have, but we'll have a different take. We're always consuming more information anyway. And then JD has a totally different sort of take at it too. And Jeremy says, I'm not good at video games anymore. My eyes can't keep up. Jason's on. What's happening? I have your email, Jason, but I was out of town and I was doing, stuff. So I'm behind. It'll probably be a week before I can even reply back. Guy says, I mentor the younger employees in our construction company and tell them all to learn how to create an online income. They have youth on their side. Yeah, 100%. Jonathan says, what's the benefit of publishing the videos outside of YouTube? So one is just like a monetization situation. So you'll have to do a little bit of research on humics and stuff like that. But basically on YouTube, there's like a minimum before you can even monetize, and it may not pay that great. With humics, to my knowledge, there's no minimum. So you can publish videos and start earning immediately. And those videos can be played on other sites within the network. Ads would run on those, and then you can earn money from someone else showing your video on their website, and then an ad rolls there. So you can earn money, and potentially that would be more than, zero if you can't monetize on YouTube yet. Or you are able, and you're able to earn more. Even if you're able to earn on YouTube, you may earn more via humics because the ads may be better targeted, they may pay more, that sort of thing. And so this one, I'm not 100% sure how it plays, but I mean, it turns out YouTube's a great platform for discoverability and that sort of thing. If you publish outside of YouTube, you can still publish on YouTube for the discoverability. If you publish on another network like humics, on the Google search, not YouTube search, on Google search, you may show up as like your YouTube video, right? So if you're ranking well and someone searches for something exactly, your YouTube video may show up, your humics video may show up also. And then your web page where humics might be displayed also might show up. So you're kind of like taking over the real estate of that SERP. So one of the big things is you could publish in multiple areas, and there's no issue with that. Daniel says, can you chop up long form video into short form and target questions and keywords to rank on YouTube and put it on all the other platforms? Yeah, so a couple things there. I will be doing some of this actually maybe coming up this week. So a little history, Daniel. So I used to chop up my long form videos into smaller segments, and I would publish like daily, essentially, because if I do an hour video and there's 7-minute segments or so, roughly, potentially those would do okay. I didn't put a ton of effort into the questions or keywords and that sort of stuff. And it was just like, hey, I'll publish clips and people can watch others. I've tested this 2 to 3 times for 6 weeks to 3 months each. So actually I have a decent amount of data. Overall, publishing all the clips didn't work very well. So what I'm changing now is I'm going to have So I added chapters. So I finally added chapters here. And then I'll have some data on what chapters are being watched the most. Also, I'll know just from what is covered in the segment if that was a good segment or not. So what we're going to do, instead of me publishing most of the interview, like 90 to 100% of the interview, I'm just going to publish 2 to 4 clips of like the very best parts of the interview. So that potentially can work. And depending on the topic, it might rank on YouTube, or at least it'll be suggested in a better way. The issue that I ran into before is I would publish the clips and it would flood people's feed. So the video would be suggested and people wouldn't watch them. So Google took that or YouTube took that as people don't want to watch those videos because it's a very low click-through rate. So that then slowly those videos weren't suggested. Then my other videos weren't suggested. And it turned out that it was a net positive to publish fewer clip videos. So I stopped publishing them. It cost money and time to do it anyway. But now I'm going to tailor it to just publish the highlights. So that should be better. Those should stand alone, number one. And then it might actually bring new viewers to the channel who maybe they don't watch the full hour-long interview, but maybe instead of watching 0 videos and 0 of the main interview, they'll watch 3 5-minute clips, which is actually a lot, right? If they watch 3 5-minute clips, that's awesome. So that is how I'm going to shift it. As far as putting it on other social platforms, I don't know if I have a large interest in doing that. It is a possibility, especially if I find that, it does pan out, but I have low interest in the other social channels. And unless I have a very good system and it's very clear results, I probably won't spend much time on it. The other part is most of the time it will be horizontal videos like this, even though I don't know, maybe I'll switch. Maybe I'll fucking switch to vertical video if that's where everything is going. But for me, I watch most of my YouTube on my phone. Actually, it may be an even split, but I do like the horizontal format. That said, I don't know. Maybe we all have to switch to vertical format. So I don't know. Good ideas though, and I don't think I'll go to the very short form social platforms. So if I did it, I would still probably want to publish like at least a few minutes of content, which I have the ability and the option to choose how I want to do it. So that is fortunate. I don't have to grow as big as possible or anything like that. All right, cool. As we're coming to the end, any final questions here? So don't forget to sign up for the YouTube notifications, which is actually the email list. There's a link in the description so you'll know about these. Thanks to the people that hopped on for the first time today. If you haven't checked out the other podcast, you can be like Daniel and Jason and listen to that. I know it's a pretty good show. We do pretty well as far as like download numbers and all that stuff. And I think once we get our act together a little bit, I think we'll be doing really, really well. But for the amount of effort that we've put in, it's actually grown pretty huge. So, all right. And Jason says, I can't get with vertical video. Nope. I have seen a few where I'm like, okay, this makes a little bit of sense, but typically for like what I'm recording, it doesn't necessarily. I guess like what I'm recording right now, it would be fine if you just saw like the talking head version, like just the torso area. But anyway, all right, that's it for today. Please check out Ezoic. If you haven't, follow the link, let them know that, you appreciate them sponsoring the show. Same with Odys. Even if you're not sure, go over there If you're not in the market for a domain, go over there and let them know that you support the show. You can send them a message on Facebook or shoot them an email or whatever you need to do. Just let them know. All right. I do these every week, and you can check it out just on my channel. So tons of good interviews as well. If you need some inspiration, you can find all sorts of folks doing interesting and fun things and being successful online. So thanks, everybody, and we'll catch you next week.